So I'm a co-founder and CEO at GIS Cloud. So today we can definitely be in an exciting era for GIS and for GEO because let's say for the first time in history that consumers are educated about maps, and GIS was not actually, as an industry, or geospatial as an industry, was not responsible for that, but a company like Google who came into this market as a new player. And actually today Google is the biggest geospatial player when you think about the user base of Google Maps. But what they did, they educated masses about utilities of maps, about how you can use a map to find something, how you can think through a map. And that is very powerful because now today you can actually leverage that to use maps for professional services for GIS, but then technology also needs to match that because GIS was always a bit of complex regarding technology. So when we look back, and as the industry, GIS was primarily desktop software, client-server software. If you go on a field, it's always an expensive device, dedicated, complex to use. It was kind of hard to scale it because of the cost, of the complexity, and maybe that was one of the reasons why never GIS kind of took mainstream for the enterprise, because it was hard to scale in an organization regarding many reasons. But today, with GIS in the cloud, we see a big opportunity to provide very simple, easy-to-use applications that are running on tablets, on mobile phones, that can be intuitive for the user, that can actually be targeted to the user. So that application kind of targets the role of its user. If you're on a field, you want to use your mobile phone. If you are a GIS guy in a GIS department, you want to have GIS capabilities for compositing maps. If you're a manager, you want to see a dashboard on your iPad. So today technology and where we are focusing on GIS Cloud is to provide simple, easy-to-use applications that can leverage existing GIS investments. So we are not trying to displace traditional GIS, but kind of extend its reach to the whole enterprise. So to summarize what GIS Cloud is, we are a platform for creating enterprise-wide applications that manage geolocated information, assets, and workforces. So we are focusing a lot on data information management, data access. Of course, there is a big part of GIS that does analysis, and we believe that for, let's say, more advanced use, you always will be going for desktop GIS, but for a mass use, you need to have maybe just percentage of functionality, and that you can do through the cloud. It's like comparing Google Docs with Microsoft Word. You have benefits of collaboration in the cloud with Google Docs and easy access to your documents. But if you want to really create a powerful document, then you go to Microsoft Word. So it depends how you will use it. But the tagline that is kind of maybe controversial for a geospatial forum and for this event, but basically we say it's about the apps, not the maps. So today you can publish maps in many ways. A lot of companies are doing data publishing. You can get data out on the cloud, on the mobile devices, on the web. But we see there is a gap with a missing platform that can actually leverage that data, map data, spatial data to create a new application that can satisfy certain workflow, certain need for such application. So that can be from managing your public works to even loading your CAD data. And analyze it or manage it in that way, to manage your fleets or access information on the iPad or do data collection with a mobile phone. So I'll give a small tour of what kind of apps we have at GIS Cloud, because we do turnkey solutions, but also we give you a platform to customize apps and tailor them according to your needs. Then after that, I will do a short demo, if time will allow, with compositing some maps from GEOs with GIS Cloud, etc. So Map Editor is our, let's say, parent application where you can actually composite maps from your data. You can drag drop your shape files, KML, GPX, map info, imagery as well. So you can just load all data in the cloud. We will host it on the cloud. You don't need to have a server to load the data. You can just publish it from your desktop directly to the cloud. But we are going also a bit further. You can also set up symbology. You can composite maps from any sources. You can even do editing so that you can edit existing data or create new data in the cloud. Also, we are focusing on sharing and collaboration, where you can invite others to join you on your projects. So this is the Google Docs aspect of what we do. We kind of focus a lot on collaboration, making data easily accessible, others in your organization or to the public. So when we're talking to the public, we are then trying to give you a different layout. If you want to create a map portal, with a simple click, a few clicks, you can set up a portal, link a map to that portal, and make it publicly available. We had like a client that discovered us in the morning. In the afternoon, client's data was on a cloud, and the next day they had a portal deployed for their public. So it was like in less than 24 hours they solved their big problem with data publishing. So data portals, as we see them, should be intuitive, minimalistic UI, just a search bar where you can search things, a map that you can see and understand, like a cadastral map, and documents and other information, non-spatial information that you can link to your existing GIS data. Of course, there is a way to customize the apps and to make them the look and feel, but also add functionality as you want. Another application where we want to go extra mile than just publishing is data collection, so that you can collect data from field using your smartphones, using tablet devices, create custom forms in GIS Cloud, share them to your mobile workforce, collect that information, and then, for example, we have a client, a city that, of course, is collecting information about status of signalization. Of course, this sign needs to be repaired. So that information in real time comes to this software where they can actually forward that information to a department who is responsible to repair the situation. So we kind of try to satisfy a more complex workflow for data collection, forwarding, and actually making a reaction on what have been collected. Fleet management is also one of the areas where we focus. So actually fleet and workforce management, where you can track vehicles and people in real time. We are doing some interesting things for fire departments where you can actually track their vehicles. You can map out fire front and in real time see where your crew is, where you can just track their mobile phones and see where they are on the field. So we kind of give you a way to analyze, slice and dice data that can be enormous, because you are collecting even every 5 seconds position of every vehicle or a person. So you can then do various drill down analysis. Document management is one of the ways how you can actually connect existing document management system with the GIS Cloud. So this is a map from a client, Orange County in California, who have created a map of their parcel data, and they wanted to link their document management for doing tax collector. They wanted to link that with the properties so that you can visually see properties, click on the property, and see the information about taxes. So it was very easy to link their current system with our portal, like you see on the screen. Analysis as well, where we do some things, not yet that much, but as I said, we are focusing more on data management, data access, data sharing, and applications. But here you can see a heat map analysis where you can easily create a point density or other algorithms and in a way create a heat map to visually represent concentration of certain data. And this is an example of a CAD where you can actually load your DXF and then visualize them as a map. So we kind of try to bring the two worlds together, CAD and GIS. And also didn't mention before, but the core parts of GIS Cloud that we built from scratch were actually map engine, because maps were always kind of slow in GIS. So we focused a lot on how we can make them faster, better. So we have a very fast map technology that can render vectors in real time and really in large quantities of data. So this is kind of a workflow where you can see how our apps kind of communicate among each other, because once you have the data on the cloud on a central place, then each app is like a window to that data. So if you're on a field, you're using the same data set on a mobile phone. If you're a GIS guy, you're using the map editor. If you're public, you want to just access information, you're using map portals. So we are kind of trying to give out-of-the-box tailored apps you could use just by signing up, or that you can customize any app for your custom need. One more a bit technical slide showing the platform architecture, or how we see a cloud platform should look like. So you can basically interact with it to push and pull the data, to use our APIs to customize the look and feel, to implement your own logic. So we have some nice examples that I'll show in a couple of minutes, showing you how you can actually leverage the platform to create a custom application. The idea is that one code that you create, web-based code, runs on all devices. So we do the heavy lifting there, so that you can easily deploy to all devices. also that everything is hosted, so that you can host your data that you can load in the cloud, but also application code. So that you don't have to have any kind of server to deploy an application. We can host your code, your data in the cloud, which in a way enables this very rapid development and deployment of new applications, that you can create an application within house, or that you can have somebody else create an application for you, but very quickly, much faster than before. This is where we are today as a community. So lots of maps, layers, and vectors are being hosted by GIS Cloud. Some of the clients that I already mentioned that are using us a lot is Orange County in California. Some other counties, also state and federal government. In Europe, cities are using GIS Cloud. In Australia as well, some commercial companies, etc. So we have a good user base and kind of scattered along many verticals, but let's say local government is definitely one of the biggest adopters of the cloud, and we see a good growth there. And this is the team. It's a very small team. It's 8 of us based in Zagreb, in Croatia, developing the platform, but also we're working internationally through our companies in the United States and the UK, where we did seed investment, and some other investors joined from the US. So I'll do a short demo if time will allow. I think I have 4 minutes, but I can show you later more if you're interested. So what you see here is the map editor application. So it's like a parent application where you can see your maps, your projects. I'm now logged in as a demo user. So I can see maps that I have created. I can see maps that has been shared to me. So other people are creating a map on GIS Cloud. By simply sharing that to a user, that map becomes available. And you can decide if that user will add data to your map, just view the data, export data, so you can very granularly control who can do what with your data. But by default, all data is private and visible only to you. And of course, you can also see public maps. So if you want to decide to make a map publicly available, there is one click to do it, and then everybody can access a map. I'll just show you some examples I did with geos. So I just actually recently discovered you, so we didn't do a big integration yet, but basically if I just search for some data, I can add it through WMS and show you how it works within GIS Cloud, thanks to OGC and standards. So if I go here, I found, I think, a data set for flood risks in Europe. So I can find many links. One of the links is the WMS link. So I can copy that, go in GIS Cloud, create a new map from scratch. But let's create a map with a base map so we can use, for example, OpenStreet. So we have a base map. We kind of treat base maps as any layer, so you can kind of mash up base maps with vectors, with imagery, with OGC services, and combine them in your maps. So when I want to add a layer, here is where I can see actually my files on the cloud, literally shape files that I can just drag and drop here. But also I can connect databases, various OGC standards from WFS, WMS, WMTS, etc. There is also a nice publisher from ArcMap to GIS Cloud where you can just install an extension and then with one click publish your data to the cloud. So if I go to WMS, edit, we just paste the URL, and now we can. So now the GIS Cloud is actually querying the WMS. It can take a couple of seconds. It depends usually on the speed of the WMS server. But we will then get a list of layers from that service, and then we can add that layer to a map. The general idea would be to kind of integrate with your APIs that I've seen before. I think the integration should be easy for having a catalog built in. Of course, there are lots of projections here from this WMS, so I'll find one that matches the base map, so that should be Mercator. Okay. Usually when you're adding vectors to GIS Cloud, we do the reprojections on the fly. So you can create a map in any projection. It can be a local projection, so you're not kind of locked to just Mercator. But here are, let's say, flood risks in South France that are aligned with the base map. Then we can also do some transparency to visually see the area and how it overlays the base map from OpenStreet. So the idea is to mesh up, to combine data from geos with data from base maps, with data that you bring, because today lots of data is locked in data silos, in file formats, in databases. So we, as the cloud, want to connect to all these data sets, and through the cloud enable access to data sets, and then a way to create new applications. I can show you just one application that is kind of interesting that Orange County did. They actually connected their rain gauge sensors, which are tracking water level. So Orange County Watershed Department is a big adopter of ours. So they have a server who is collecting that data, and then their developer created an integration between their server and GIS Cloud, where I can click on one of the water level sensors and get information about that sensor, but also it should show information about history of water levels. And all that has been done through our APIs. So they have meshed up their sensor network with our APIs to create a custom application. As you can see here, the layout is similar, but to add a button or to just change it a bit, it's very easy. You can set it up in like 1 or 2 hours and have an app deployed behind a unique URL to your client or internally for use.